So, welcome to this episode of Tell Us Like It Is. I can promise you one thing, this is going to be a great fun episode. You know, it's an episode where we actually understand people, we have them tell great stories. Most of us do have wonderful stories that we'd like to share. Today is absolutely no exception to that fact. Okay, it's an episode where we get people to share not just their story, but to inspire other people based on their lives. Welcome to Tell Us Like It Is, like I said. It's often said, don't let limitations of other people affect you or create limitations as far as you're concerned. I have with me a gentleman who has limitations as far as connotations of the real world are concerned, but my goodness, absolutely no limitations in his mind or otherwise. I'd like you to welcome Hans Dalal, a dear friend.
Hey, what's up?
All good, my friend.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming over.
No problem, man.
This is one chat I'm looking forward to big time.
Okay, let's see how it goes.
No, it will go good. It will go good. So let's start at the beginning, Hans.
Yeah. So tell me.
Now, you have cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And it's something that has never taken away that smile from your face, that happiness quotient that you have,
Yeah.
and that zest for life. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us the story.
So when I was born, I was born prematurely. I was born at 7 months, and normally, when children are born prematurely, they develop jaundice very often. But in my case, my bilirubin went really high. So on the third day, on my third day that I was born, I had to be rushed for a blood transfusion because my blood couldn't carry enough oxygen to my brain. But then it was already too late, so I had already got cerebral palsy by then. But then my mom and my parents started realizing it much later, in about 2 months or 3 months, I guess they figured there's something wrong. And they took me to the doctor, and that's when they diagnosed me with cerebral palsy. So that's how it happened. And basically, half the people in India don't even know what cerebral palsy is. So that's the thing. So cerebral palsy basically is it's a part of my brain that controls the fine motor movements and muscle coordination is damaged because of lack of oxygen, which is why I walk a little funny and I talk the way I do and I have a writing disability. If you ask me to write, I can't read myself, so what are you going to read?
But look at this. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't, forget about letting it get you down, man. This is one gentleman who not only doesn't let it get him down, he adds happiness in people's lives around him. I'm one such, man. I'm one such. So I believe you had a special relationship, like we all do, with your mother, who really helped you.
Yeah. So basically, like I said, and they took my mom and dad took me to the doctor when I was 3 months. They thought there's something wrong with me. I was always tensed. I wasn't like normal kids. So then when the doctor actually diagnosed me with cerebral palsy, they actually told my mom, just by looking at me on the bed, not even reading, not even doing any tests, nothing, they told my mom that I would be a vegetable for the rest of my life. That I wouldn't talk, I wouldn't walk and all. And my mom, instead of getting disheartened and leaving me alone, she took it up as a challenge. That no, I will prove these doctors wrong. And well, she did.
And here you are.
Yeah, so yeah.
Here you are. I mean, I've got to say to the listeners that this is one guy, man. He's inspirational to say the least. And let me tell you, he has more fun with and around life than most of us do. Lesson to be learned. But tell us a little bit about what's kept you going all these years. What's kept you professionally busy?
Well, change of career for one.
No, but tell us about
So
it.
I'll tell you, so basically, because of my cerebral palsy, my muscles don't coordinate, right?
Right.
So actually, it was my mom's idea to send me to learn an instrument, not to become a musician, but as therapy for my fingers and all. So she sent me for tabla class, and I learned to play the keyboards.
Oh.
And my dad was always fond of music. So I grew up with music all my life. It's damn funny. I'll tell you one funny story about my dad. It is hilarious. So my 10th standard prelim exams are going on. Okay, 10th standard board prelim exams are going on. Friday I have geography paper. Monday I have maths paper. Okay. And dude, from the 8th standard till the 10th standard, I had got 0 in maths throughout, okay?
Consistently.
Consistently. Like I had kept the report cards also just to like make sure that was true, okay? So yeah, so my dad was like 100% sure that I'm going to flunk maths on Monday. So no point like studying on the weekend, you know. So while my classmates were like busy studying for maths and all on Monday, my dad took me for jazz yatra. So that's the connect that I had with music since I was a kid, okay? Like music was actually my life. But then as I grew up, music is all about timing. So it's all about muscle coordination with timing. So my brain thinks in time, but my muscles don't react in time.
Sure.
So for me to become a musician was out of the question. And I grew up like in the 70s and 80s and 90s and all. When mitigation didn't come to India.
Right.
So I couldn't like play one note at a time and like press play. So performing live was out of the question, but I wanted to be part of the music industry, making music. And that's when my dad actually introduced me to sound engineering and recording and all. And then and like in my 10th standard, I decided that this is what I want to do. I want to become a sound engineer. So I went to college in India. But the education system in our country really sucks. Like I have a writing disability, right? So when I entered college, I told them that I have a writing disability, so I need either I need a writer to write my exams like I had in school, or I can use the college computer. I can type. So first thing that principal of Xavier's tells me is, you cannot use a computer because you'll feed data into the computer. So I'm like, boss, I'm not going to use my computer. I'm thinking I'll use the college computer, your office computer. I'll sit in your office and give my exams. So he refused to let me do that. Then when it came to asking for a writer, he comes up with this thing that the law says that the writer has to be exactly 1 year junior to you and from a different faculty. Now boss, I'm in the 11th. 1 year junior to me is 10th. When are they going to come and write my papers? So half my exams I couldn't give because I didn't have a writer. So then I failed the 11th and luckily I got admission into this college in Australia called RMIT and I went there to do my sound engineering. And then I came back, okay? But the thing is that, you know, when you're a kid, problems that like physical problems or whatever you have don't play that big a role in your life. But as you start growing up, it gets more and more visible and then people start noticing it and like looking at you differently. Like that. So even when I set up my studio, like our clients would give me all the useless work, like video record karo, ye karo, and they would give all the music and all the interesting work to somebody else. So stuff like that happened, but I mean, I had friends who were musicians, so I would always work with them on the music angle.
You've worked with some big boys, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, some of the finest.
So my own recording studio, when I set up, my first client was Tilokutu.
Right.
Then I've recorded with Vishal, Tadlani. I've recorded with Anushka Manchanda, all these. And all friends now,
exactly. You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, you have this ability, dude. Everyone you meet becomes friend for life.
Yeah.
One such is right here. We've spent some great times in Tadoba.
Yeah.
So speaking of Tadoba, you know, you had a studio of your own. You were doing stuff there.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened? How did wildlife, you know?
So we'll have to go back to a little bit into my childhood for me to cover this part of my life. So like I said, like I grew up with cerebral palsy. But you know, my parents never sent me to a special school or something. They sent me to a normal school, okay? So when I reached the 6th or 7th standard, my school had this thing called Hikers Club. And they would take the school kids on hikes and all. And I really wanted to go, man. Like I was like 10 years old and I really wanted to go. But my school refused to take me. They were scared. They were scared to take me hiking because of my problem. So I was really sad at home and all. And my dad has this one friend called Mahesh Chaturvedi. Now Mahesh runs an organization called Shikhar, which is a non-profit organization. And their main objective of Shikhar is to inculcate love for nature amongst today's youth, amongst children. So he used to take kids to Himalayas and all. So one day he'd come to my house and I was damn sad and all. School is not taking me on this trip and all. I was pissed off and all. And then he's like, forget that dude, I will take you. Come and be here. Forget your school and all. So when all my classmates were like in Mathera and some Duke of Edinburgh trip, I was in the Himalayas walking from like...
Oh man.
Yeah, Mahesh uncle took me to the Himalayas, straight mountains. So ever since then, like every year I used to go with him to the Himalayas. Or like he had this one program called Know the Sea.
Right.
Where he would take you to this small fishing village in Maharashtra called Ganpati Fude. And he would take you on a trawler and show you how fish are caught and how the whole fishing industry works, So I used to go on camps like that with him. And that's where my love for nature grew, okay? And then this whole studio happened where I set up my studio. And my studio also, right? It was in the middle of this corporate office. So we had all these people sitting outside with ties and shirts sitting on the computers and all. And then you had me walking in a sleeveless t-shirt, shorts, choppers. You had like... And it's that funny, okay? Because every time like Vishal or somebody came, no. And this was my family business office, okay? So you know my uncle Mickey, right?
Yes, I do.
So Mickey used to sit in that office. It was his office. It was his company. And he gave me one little corner to set up the studio, okay? So every time like a Vishal or somebody came, no, the whole staff outside would stop, whatever they do, he'd come to the door and start looking. And then they'd come autograph and all, okay? So like that a bit. So one day I was mixing a song for I don't remember who. And my uncle Mickey comes in. And this was like, I think this happened. Yeah, this was after my dad passed away. So my uncle came into the office, into my studio. And they, you like nature, right? So I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, so I'm planning this trip to Ghana with my family. Why don't even you join that? So I'm like, okay, I'll come. Then he shut the door. And that time was, I didn't know, like, at that point in my life, right, the only nature I knew was beach, Himalayas, and that's it. Okay, I knew that there were tigers in India, but I didn't know there were tiger reserves or what a tiger reserve is and all. Never been on a safari or anything, okay? And like a hero, like a Bombay boy, I thought, fuck it, sorry.
That's okay.
I thought it's Madhya Pradesh, center of India. Bombay is hot. That will be hotter. And December was Bombay also, we wear shorts and t-shirt only, no?
Correct.
So I packed my bag with shorts, t-shirt, and I went. It was damn cold, it was like freezing, dude. I was like, I had to borrow my uncle's clothes and all, wear some extra clothes from my driver and all to keep warm, okay? But that's when I saw my first tiger. 5 seconds, that's all, man. 5 seconds, like this tiger is, right? You've been to Ghana, right?
Yes, I have.
So you know that huge grassland in the meadow? So we are on this path and suddenly, like, it was a third safari, okay? And this driver tells this guide, कि बाघ पीछे से निकलेगा. So the guide looks at us and says, sir, tiger. So we all looked. And like couple of, I think it must have been 15, 20 seconds after he said tiger. This tiger, Ghana, right, the grass is like tall. Yeah. So this tiger is like, she just sticks her head out of the grass like this, turns, looks at us, and disappears. It was literally 5 seconds. But I don't know how to explain this. Like the best way to explain it is like, it moved every element inside me. And 5 seconds just turned everything around inside me. It was like, so then I came back to Bombay, but it was like my heart and my soul were left behind in the jungle. So I would like close my eyes and I would see the tiger only, yeah. So then I sat. So then I had set up the studio and all, so we had to run a business, right? It's a business at the end of the day.
True.
You have to make money, right? And until then I was engineering. But now I couldn't get my heart into engineering anymore because I kept thinking about the tiger. So what did I do? I did the next best thing. Delegation. Get one assistant engineer to record. You handle the recording, boss. Took the recording. And I sat outside in my cabin. And for the next 1 year, I think I sat online. And that time even Google didn't exist. There was only Yahoo and MSN. So I sat on Yahoo and I started researching why are these tigers going extinct? What's the scene? And then I started educating myself first with what the problem is, why things are happening and all. And then what happened is after that, another great, now if I look at it, a very great thing happened, but that time it was a very horrible thing that happened. So you're from the industry, so you'll understand this. But up till 2010, 2011, all the ad agencies and all were in Lower Parel.
Right.
And my studio was in Worli. And then in 2011, 2012, they started shifting to Goregaon and all. So now business started going on, my money was coming from there. They were my paisa clients like you have.
Right.
So then I had two options. One was either I moved the studio to Andheri. I'm a South Bombay boy, that's not happening. Anyways, second one was shut the studio down. And by then I had already completed 10 years in the music industry. And I had come to this realization that, half the time, like the Bollywood clients hardly pay. So it was like doing charity for Bollywood, right? In a way you're doing free work for them. They make you do all the work. When you go to them with the bill, there'll be a film flop ho gaya. I'm like, boss, मेरा क्या कर दिया? तेरा story गलत था तो मैं क्या करूँ यार? मेरा तो काम निकला ऐसा. So then we decided to shut the studio down, okay? And like 5 years like of my own studio, setting up and all, like my baby, yeah.
A bit of a heart.
Yeah, bit of a heart like breaks, right?
Yeah.
So then I was like, boss, I want to take a break from this recording business. Yeah, I want to just chill at home and do nothing for the next couple of months, and we'll see how it goes. And that tiger was still in my head for 1 year ago.
Right.
So I was sitting at home and watching like Discovery and Nat Geo and all. And that time there used to be this one serial that used to come on Nat Geo called Mad Mike and Mike. Where these two guys used to go with this camera really close to lions and all. And I was like, boss, I want to do this. So I called up my dad's friend who took me to Dalal. I called him up and I told him, Mahesh uncle. And these are my actual words to him. Mahesh uncle, मुझे tiger बचाना है, क्या करूँ? So now Mahesh uncle goes quiet on the other side of the phone. He's thinking, he's like, अच्छा एक काम कर. I have a friend in Ranthambore called Fateh Singh Rathod. I'm sending his number, you give him a call. I said, okay. He sent me his number, I called up Fateh. I have no clue who Fateh Singh Rathod is at this time, okay? Give him a call. हाँ sir, मुझे tiger बचाना है. Mahesh uncle has given me your number. So he said to talk to you. So Fateh tells me that we run this one course called Conservation Leadership Program. It's 7,000 rupees. It's 7 days in May. And this is, I'm talking in Feb, okay? And he's like, acha, so you come to Ranthambore, you meet me, and then I'll tell you about the course, and then you decide if you want to do it. So by the time this phone call has got complete, no. I have like somehow got information about what name to make the DD in. But he's like, acha, so you don't make the DD now. First you come, you talk to me, and then you see. So I'm like, okay, sir, I'll call you back. I'll just book my ticket and I'll call you back. So I cut my call, went to the bank, made the DD for 7,000 rupees in the name of Tiger Watch. Went to my office, my uncle's office, got the peon to book me tickets. And 2 days, I think 3 days later, I was in Ranthambore. And I'm like, here, sir, I want to join. Thank you very much. You don't need to tell me anything more.
That's fabulous, man.
Yeah, because I had nothing else to do. No, studio to band ho gaya. Kya karu? So then, like, after that, that's how I got into wildlife conservation and all.
Tell us some of the stuff you're doing there. I mean, you just mentioned earlier while we were chatting.
After doing the course with Tiger Watch, at that time, Tiger Watch used to work on anti-poaching and poacher rehabilitation. So basically, the concept was that, yes, poachers are a problem and threat to wildlife, and it is a criminal activity. So first of all, you have to get them arrested. Then after they get convicted and when they come out after doing their time, then nobody wants to give them a job or anything, when they go back to poaching. So the thing was to give them alternate source of income. And that was part of the rehabilitation program. Because, when I was with Tiger Watch, I must have spent a good amount of 2-3 years interacting with ex-poachers and their families and all. And that time, that's when you realize that, boss, we say poachers are bad, we say poachers are criminals. Yeah, they are criminals. But they're no different than you and me.
Right.
like, see, can I explain this to you? Should I explain this to you? Is it okay?
Yes.
So, like, see, if I tell you, you have two choices in life. Okay, if you take choice A, you'll have to work your ass off, but you'll have a happy and safe life. Okay? And if I tell you option B, you'll get fast money, but you won't have any life. You'll be in jail and all. Any person in the right senses will take option A, right?
Right.
But for these guys, that option A was never there. They only had option B. I'll explain to you how, okay? So these most poachers come from tribal communities of hunters and gatherers, okay? Now, when you're in Rajasthan, okay, for example, these guys were hunters and gatherers for generations. They lived inside the forest. Then one day the Indian government decided, come on, we will make Project Tiger and all. And they decided to relocate these people outside the forest. And they said, we'll give you land and all, okay. We'll give you a house and land, but you cannot live in the forest, you have to live outside. And your way of life is illegal, now you have to do something else. So they've given land, okay. But when you've been hunters and gatherers, since the past 300, 400 years, what uses the land if nobody taught you how to cultivate?
Sure.
So, I mean, these guys went back into the jungle and started poaching because that's what they knew best. And then they realized that tigers and all have a value, and that's how the whole poaching thing happened. And the other thing is, even when they come back after they're rehabilitated, they are a criminal tribe, okay? So they don't get tribal benefits because they are called a criminal tribe and they're the lowest caste in society. And in Rajasthan, the social structure is very strong. So if you're the lowest caste, you are screwed. So the villagers don't let them well water from the wells.
Oh, wow.
They don't let them interact with them. So these people have to actually walk literally 10, 15 kilometers just to get water from the closest river. Stuff like that, okay? So their lives are really hard. And the thing is, like, the government, so when I told you about this criminal tribe status, this criminal tribe status was not given by the Indian government. It was given by the British. The British left 70 years ago, but till today that criminal tribe status hasn't hurt out from the head. So what option do they have?
Right. But my trip to the jungle with you,
Yeah.
I saw, one of the things that really jumped out at me, Hans, was your relationship with them, man.
So in Tadoba, they were not poachers. Those boys were guides and drivers and local villagers.
Right.
But even them, like the relationship I've had with them is because a lot of them were my students. So after Ranthambore, I moved to Tadoba. I started working with the forest department. And I was training the drivers and guides in tracking tigers and teaching them about the wildlife and how to identify wildlife, how to identify animals, birds. So they're my students.
Now tell us, we've figured the journey.
Yeah.
What's the purpose at the moment? Because yours is an ever-evolving story.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, see, I as I said, I went to Ranthambore and I did that course. Then I started volunteering with Fateh's NGO Tiger Watch. And I spent about 3.5, 4 years working with Tiger Watch. At one point, I actually joined them as a full-time job also as community conservation officer. And until then, according to me and whatever I had read, everything that I learned, taught myself online and all, everything spoke about poaching being the biggest problem. That poaching was the main reason tigers are getting killed. Poachers are bad. Poaching, everywhere poaching, okay? Then after that, I started exploring other forests. So I went to Corbett, I went to Tadoba, went to Bandhavgarh, went to Kana. And after traveling to all these places, I started to realize that poaching was a problem here. But an even bigger problem was habitat loss. I mean, our country today also talks about save tiger numbers have to go up. They have these aims that by 2020 we want so many tigers in our country. By this year we want so many tigers in our country. But what people don't realize is that Tigers are not like domestic cats or like dogs, where they live in one room or one small area. Like a male tiger, a Royal Bengal tiger that we find in India, a male tiger requires an area of 80 to 100 square kilometers of rich forest. Now when I say rich forest, I don't mean rich in trees and water only. It has to be rich enough to sustain large prey. Tigers cannot depend on small prey like hare and all that a leopard can live on. Tigers require sambar deer, cheetal deer, because minimum requirement of a tiger is a tiger can eat, in one sitting a tiger can eat up to 60 to 80 kilos of meat.
Oh, wow.
So like a mouse deer, for example, that will fill a leopard will be like a snack for a tiger, right? But the forest also has to be rich enough to handle those species. So that's what I meant when I said indicator species, how it indicates the health of the forest is this. Now the thing when you talk about habitat losses is that yes, our tiger numbers are going up in our country right now, yes. But the forests are not expanding to handle so many tigers. So at some point those tigers are going to come out, they're going to come in contact with humans. And that's what's happening now, which leads to man-animal conflict. So poaching is a problem, yes. I will not say it's not a problem, but an even more serious problem today is habitat loss. I mean, when you talk about saving the tiger, you should also talk about saving the habitat. Increase the habitat with the population. Like for example, Bombay. At one point, Bombay had say 100 people, okay? So there were 100 houses, right? But as the 100 people became 1,000 people, we also had to build 1,000 houses for them, right? But when we talk about tigers, we're talking about increasing the population, we're not talking about building houses for them to live. And that's when the problem happens. So that's what, right now, that's what I'm working on, man-animal conflict mitigation. Because that is most important.
That's are you making progress with all your efforts?
Yeah, like for example, like see the thing is when you get into something like this, you know, get into the details, understanding the problem first before you come up with solutions or anything. So the first thing that what we did when I'm in Tadoba is, even if I take on a project, for example, okay, if I say this is required, but this is required why? So first we'll do an entire research, an entire study. I'll give you a simple example, okay? Like 2.5 years ago, we started to realize that wild animals, including leopards, bears, and tigers, had started coming closer to villages, mainly in summer months. Because what's happening is global warming is of course happening, but the thing is that every village around Tadoba, every village has a village Dalal, a lake. Then the villagers use that for the year, for their water. So it's called a Gaon Talab, okay? So in summer what started happening is that the animals were coming out in search of water. Because all the water holes inside the forest were starting to dry up very badly. So now what do you do? Now this is a major problem. I mean, tigers are coming into the village, attacking villagers, attacking cattle. Cattle compensation is going up. Government has to pay for cattle compensation. I mean, if a human is killed, they have to give his family members compensation and all that. So these were all kinds of effects of the animals coming out of the forest. So what we decided to do is we made a proposal and gave it to the forest department saying that why don't we build solar water holes inside the forest? Like you dig a hole, a big hole, you dig a borewell. Yes, I know we're tapping the groundwater, but that is important if you want to mitigate this problem. So we built borewells and we put solar pumps with solar panels. So when the sun is out, the borewell keeps pumping water into the hole, and when it fills up, the overflow flows into a stream and goes back into the ground only in the sand. So basically it goes back into the water table. So that wastage is limited, and there is water in summer also now because The bowel is pumping water. Whatever little bit is pumping. So now the animals that used to come out aren't coming out anymore. And areas that couldn't sustain tigers have now got resident tigers living out there and breeding.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Man.
So stuff like that is what we right now I'm working on.
You know what's incredible, what comes across to me as really incredible, Hans, is you were born and grew up with limitations. Most
Yeah.
of us tend to kind of feel sorry for ourselves. You broke that. You came out of it. Forget about feeling sorry for yourself. You've had other people kind of, overcome their limitations and actually become bigger and better people, dude. That's a blessing, man.
I don't know about that, dude. See, dude, when you talk about limitations, okay, like for you, for living with cerebral palsy for me is normal, but it's not normal for you.
Brilliant.
So your normal is different from my normal, right?
Brilliant. But that's beautiful to have that approach.
So I'm just living life which is normal for me, yeah. Now, I mean,
and more power to you, brother. More power to you. I did mention earlier that we have stories here that should go out, that should be relished. Here's one such. I mean, really honestly, brother, salutations on all you do.
Yeah.
And while doing all of that, what really comes across is an inner happiness that you exude.
Yeah.
Shiny, happy people. Hans Dalal right here is one of them. Now, Hans, I want you to share with us, if there's one thought that resonates with you strongly. You've had a crazy story, or should I be saying a crazy, happy story. You've lived your life on your terms.
yeah.
You've inspired many, many, many hundreds of people. I'm sure there is something that resonates with you very strongly that you want to share.
Well, the thing that resonates with me is actually doesn't resonate. The thing that I have an issue with is today's parents. Like today's parents, right? When their kids come home, first of all, they don't let their kids go out to play. They buy them video games. So please don't get your kids video games. Let them play outdoors. Okay, first of all, and please do not treat mud as dirt. Everything comes from mud. I mean, the food we eat comes from mud. Everything. When we die, we also become mud, right? So it's not dirt. It's awesome. Let your kids play with mud because that's your first connect with nature is when you play with mud, yeah. If you tell your kid that mud is dirt, then he'll say that the jungles are dirt, the mountains are dirt. That connect doesn't happen with nature. When you feel it with your own hands is when you connect with it.
Okay. Hans, thank you, man. Thank you very much. And I'm saying thank you not just on my behalf or on TELIS like it is behalf, but thank you from the world around you, man, for being
Thanks,
this,
man.
for really, dude, for being this beacon of hope, this beacon of positivity, and staying incredibly happy while you do this, man.
Well,
May your tribe, like the tigers, increase, man.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks a
man.
ton, man.
Thanks,
Absolute
man.
privilege. Yeah.
Thanks, it was fun, man.